what this video is going to be about is, everyone's talking about like, oh my God, those signal chats, right? Signal chats. Um, okay, so those signal chats, good. And Lucy can, hopefully you can hear me. So those signal chats that everyone's talking about, and they're like, oh my God, there's these signal chats, and they're like organized by Navy SEALs or some shit. I don't know. Like, there's some crazy information out there about the signal chats. And so we'll go over, like I'm going to go over the particulars of like, what do they do in these signal chats, right? Like, what are the three general types of volunteers that are in the signal chats? I'll give you some overall of what I saw and experienced while I was in these signal chats. And I was in them for several weeks, and then I got booted out. And it wasn't like I did anything bad or anything like that, but there is a DFL rep in our area who is the admin of them. She had big feels and made sure I was bounced out. But I can tell you what I saw and experienced up until that point. Okay, so first, what is Signal? Because I think most of my friends know what Signal is, but I'll go over like what is Signal. Signal is it's an app on your phone, and it allows you to do a group text, right? And it's encrypted end to end. You can set messages to disappear, kind of like how Snapchat disappears, or you don't have to, right? Like, you don't have to set it up to disappear. So really, it's a group text. It's a group text. And when you're in these signal chats, it is every bit as annoying as any group chat or text that you have ever had the misfortune to be trapped in. A lot of people going, what's going on? And making weird comments and that kind of thing, right? Okay, so that's Signal. You get a link to get into a Signal group, and it might be organized just within like a 6-block area, or it could be your town, or it could be your county, right? There are different levels of organization, and you join whichever one best fits for you. Okay, so you get in. A lot of people change their name to a handle, right? They don't use their real name because they know there's going to be feds in there. Like, they know it's not a big deal. And so people will just change their name to whatever. I didn't. I kept my name as it was because I am an elected official. And so I felt it would be a little dishonest if I did not use my real name. So you get in, and now what? Okay, so there's 3 general categories of things that are being organized within these chats. Okay. You could be a protester, and there are protesters, right? So you want to join a protest, like an actual protest. You want to go to the Whipple building. You want to protest at the airport when they're doing those immigration flights, right? Those are formal protests or something happening in your town, right? And so people will say, hey, there's going to be a protest at such and such place. Who's going? Can I get a ride? Like, all of that kind of thing. Next, like, kind of area of organization in there is like aid or helpers. Okay. And these are people that, they'll donate money. They will, drive around to get groceries and drop them off for people, or people will say, so-and-so has a doctor's appointment. Who can drive them and come back from their doctor's appointment because they don't want to drive their own car because, they don't want to get pulled over. And a lot of the people that are being helped are legal. Some of them are citizens, but they've been hassled several times by ICE, and like, they're scared. Others are green card holders, or they have a permit to work or whatever. In this group of helpers, they may drive someone to and from work. A lot of them are moms, and they are walking kids to and from school so the kids can go to school. Okay, so now you get to the third group, and this is your neighborhood watch people. And so, like, an alert will go out and they'll say, ICE is seen in this neighborhood. And so people in that neighborhood will then go out and they'll either record or blow whistles or that type of thing. They may also follow suspected ICE cars or known ICE cars in their neighborhood, and they'll follow them around the area until they're out of the neighborhood, and then they turn back. Like, they don't just keep following. They're just very, very tight within the neighborhood. And now this is going to get to the part where people are freaking out about, because they're like, oh my God, they're looking in the state license plate database. That is not happening. I'm going to explain to you what happens, the whole license plate thing. So if you see a car that you suspect is ICE, and usually people who are following, they're told to obey all traffic laws. They're told to be at a distance, but usually there's two people, a driver and then the person in the passenger seat. The person in the passenger seat will write down or text in the license plate number and the make and model of the car. And then they will, they'll say, check this car. And then what they do is they look at known cars. So how do they know that there's these known ICE agents, right? Because when ICE agents are stopped, and you can see it's an ICE agent, people go up and they take a picture of the car and the license plate number and they put it in a Google spreadsheet. Like, literally, that's what this is. This is not a DMV database. This is a Google spreadsheet. And then we do know that they change license plates on cars. And so sometimes you'll be like, hey, I got this license plate number and it's this one, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, make and model don't match, but the license plate does. So now they mark down, oh, this is an ICE car, even though it's a different make and model, because we know that license plate is being used by ICE. They just switch them in and out. And when I say ICE, I mean ICE and Border Patrol. Same difference, right? Okay. So that gets into that. So it's not like they're accessing anything. It's a Google spreadsheet. It's a Google spreadsheet that people are sharing, right? So that's the main thing. And then you'll have people in the chat who are kind of like, the leaders, admin, which basically means that's probably the person in your community that just started the Signal chat and they got a couple buddies to help write herd on it. And then you'll also have someone that's like dispatch, right? And they're the person that's saying, hey, can anyone do this? Can anyone do that? Right? And then you'll have the looker upper, which is someone sitting at home so that they could be looking at the Google spreadsheet. So if someone calls in an address or types in a license plate number, they can look that up. So that's really what it is. And when people are like, they're in there and someone's like, hey, so-and-so, my neighbor needs help walking their kids to school. Oh, I can do that. Like, that's what's happening here. So that's the big, scary, like, secretness of it. Now, I'm going to give you some general observations on it. And if you have questions, pop it into the comment and I will get to your questions. And if you don't have questions or you have them later, whatever. Okay, so they stress all the time. Everyone tells each other all the time in these groups, avoid physical confrontation. It's not always avoidable, and often what you see happen is someone will be standing to the side, videotaping, that kind of stuff, and they try to stay several feet away. ICE goes to them, and they shove them. They will mace them, all this kind of stuff. I personally have seen this. I personally have been across the street when ICE was in a apartment building across the street, and I was standing there talking to the homeowner, because she didn't know what the hell was going on because there was a lot of yelling. And so I came over to just explain what was happening. And as ICE left, they drove by us very slowly, rolled down the window, and maced us. So it's often ICE that's going forward and doing that. Also, they will expand the area. Like ICE, like you'll be videotaping in an area and there's an enforcement action happening like a ways, right? And then ICE will just keep expanding the perimeter because they don't want you to be able to record. They don't want a record of anything. And so they expand the area out and then they're like, oh, you're impeding, you're in the way. You are a half a block away from any action that they're doing, but they just keep expanding the perimeter because they travel in like packs of like 30 to 40 people. So they do stress. Avoid physical confrontation. Don't do that. The other thing that they stress, follow all traffic rules. The other thing that they say is if you are someone who's going to follow ICE in the neighborhood, you're going to be part of Neighborhood Watch. You cannot be someone who delivers groceries, because what they're seeing is if you are someone who follows or records, what little fun trick that ICE will do is they come up to you and say your name, because they run your place, and they call you by name. Hey, Kara, how's it going? You know, that's fun. Or they will, as you're following them, they will drive to your house because they want you to know that they know where you live. So if you are delivering groceries to someone that is trying to avoid ICE, like, you can't have that crossover. So those are things that they stress. Now, organization. This I find hilarious because I see all of these, and it's mostly dudes. Sorry, guys. It's mostly dudes who are going, oh my God, the level of organization and sophistication. This is obviously some foreign government doing this, or, you know, this is some paid blah, 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 blah. It's because you're dudes that you don't understand how moms can organize. A lot of the people that are in these groups, they're just regular people, but it's a lot of moms. And I will tell you, moms know how to organize the shit out of any situation. Like, they will jump in, they will make sure people have food, they will make, like, they just start organizing things. And if you've ever been a part of any, like, kids hockey team or anything like that, it's the moms that are organizing everything. They just jump in, they're not the coaches. They're not paid to do anything, but they just organize it. And that's really what I've seen. When I first joined the Signal group, it was a little disorganized at first. People were trying to figure out what to do, because again, it's just regular people. Like, I knew a lot of the people in it, and they were trying to figure out what to even do. But it got better, and it keeps getting better as it goes along. People got way more organized. Like, they would learn and share information, and people who have been doing it for a while shared tips and that kind of stuff. But like, it's still a lot of people posting dumbass shit in there, and people going, keep the channel clear. You're posting in the wrong group. Use the salute formula, which is, you know, like, you're supposed to give very clear information and keep the channel clear and not be talking about like dumb crap, right? But a lot of that happens. There's not big money. I know people are talking about, oh God, it's got to be hugely funded. It is not. This is what's actually been incredible. So Signal's free. You can use that for free. It's literally someone will say, I need this, and someone else will provide it. Like, they will just throw down their own money and do it. Like, we need some respirator masks, because I got to tell you, I am getting too old to suck in as much tear gas and mace as I have been. Those 70-year-old ladies that are doing this, holy shit, those are tough old birds. Anyway, people will just throw money down and do it. Like, it's just everyone reaching in their own pocket and throwing money down. And that has been kind of an amazing thing to see. This is not just the left. I know people are like, oh, it's these, you know, far left ads. That is not who's in these groups. It's your neighbor. It's people who have never been a part of any protest whatsoever, not politically involved, they're not shit posting on Facebook. What happens is people see something happen to someone they know. And then they're like, that's it, I'm getting involved. They see something happen in their neighborhood. They get stopped. Someone they know gets stopped. They're you know, they're like a mom in a mom's group, and suddenly there's like 20 to 40% of the kids that are not showing up at school anymore. And they're like, oh my God, we got to arrange play dates. How do I do this? That's who's in these groups. And it is a shit ton of independents. And I'm starting to see more Republicans starting to join in. And some of them were, and I know this because I know who they are, were Trump voters, and they are horrified by what they're seeing. They're horrified by seeing ICE just drive through our city, blow through red lights. We've seen accidents happen, and it's not even the person that ICE is chasing. They just smoke into them, and then they leave the scene. Like, they leave the scene. They don't stop. They don't check on the people. It is the craziest shit you've ever seen in your entire life. So it is a mix of ages and that kind of stuff. It is tilted far more towards women, though. It's frankly, it's a lot of women. And it is very focused on how do we care for each other. People are not being pushed into this. Like we had a lady and she was like, I want to do some of these things, but I'm the only parent and I have a special needs kid, and everyone was like, absolutely not. You stay home. So no one is getting pushed into this. No one's being duped. That's just not a thing. Yeah, I know I'm seeing like, they're being duped into doing this. They're not. The other thing is that people are naive. They're not naive. I will tell you, people are scared. People doing this, even delivering groceries, walking kids to school, they're all scared. They talk about how frightened they are. And after an encounter with ICE, when they're just doing like just everyday things, or helping walk the kids, or taking someone to a medical appointment. I mean, I personally have watched people, like, they go through it, they videotape, or they do whatever. And then the stress reaction afterwards, they are shaking, they are crying, they realize how dangerous this is. They realize it. And then they do it again. Like, they go back out and do it again. And I have so much respect for these people doing that. It is the most unreal thing I've ever seen or been a part of it. And that's why I'm really sad for the political right now. I'm really sad for them, because what I'm seeing happen is everything they've ever said they wanted. They've said that they want like strong communities, right? And they want neighbors helping neighbors, like we used to. And that's what's happening. I mean, that's what is being built, are these strong communities, and neighbors are just stepping up and helping other neighbors, and they're not caring about like who they are or their political persuasion or their anything. They're just like, you need something, I will help you. The political right has always said like they want this charitable action to happen without government mandating it. We don't want to take your taxes and do it. That's what's happening. People are just reaching in their own pocket and they're making it happen. We talk about like, we want spontaneous order, not imposed order, right? That's what's happening right now. These people are standing up for individual rights, like, and they're standing tough on that. And I'll tell you, all through COVID, the political right said, they were going to build this strong network, right? Build your network. That's what we all warned each other. Build your network, because government is coming for you. But goddamn, that's what's happening right now. Government is coming for you, and like the network is being built. And they talk about how they want like churches to be the center of community. Churches are stepping up. Churches are organizing the majority of this, and instead they're shitting on these churches. Like they're just it's insane. It is absolutely insane. So that's what I have seen. That's the organization I've seen. I'm literally not seeing big money. There's no government databases that people are accessing. This really is spontaneous order. It's people being decent neighbors, You know, and for those of you, most of you know me, but for those of you that don't know me, I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. Um, you know, I am an independent. So it's not like I have any illusions of the left or the right being as strong on individual rights as I wish. But this is some of the worst crap I've ever seen in my life. But this is also some of the most heartening things I have ever seen in my life of people pulling together and spontaneously making a strong, resilient community. And I see on that comment of, you know, like, I hope people will keep this together. I do too. I mean, like, that's one of the things that I hope comes out of this, is that this doesn't just end when this ends, that we should be using this as something to build upon further, like for mutual aid and caring for one another, and, you know, keeping that neighborhood watch going together. Because I will tell you, in the areas that are organized and that have this neighborhood watch, there is not shit for crime happening. That is just not happening. So I would love for this to continue happening, and I'm gonna peek at a few of this. Yep, you bet. All right, I'm gonna peek at a few of the comments. Yeah, I know, Michelle, because it's dudes. And yes, moms get shit done. Let's see. Robert says people are surprised at how well unfunded groups can be organized and be effective. Yes. And they should instead be surprised at how inefficient and ineffective heavily funded groups can be. Absolutely. Yes. In another country, watching, appreciate it. Amount of bootlicking on the right, yeah, is astounding. Frankly, it is. I just, what would you say to the people who will only watch or read headlines calling Minnesotans agitators and calling these riots? You know, I think people are pushing themselves into tighter and tighter and smaller echo chambers. And they're doing that because they want affirmation that they were right and not that they were duped. And I think a lot of good people were duped, and now they're doing everything they can to not have to face that, because it's painful and it hurts. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person because shitty people that actually are really well funded duped you and then are trying to keep you in echo chambers because they're milking you for money. But get outside of your echo chamber, and I don't care what little echo chamber you have. Get outside of that. Start calling in for information. And, you know, for a lot of this stuff, if you watch live streamers, not just a small piece that was taken out of context, watch live streamers, watch a whole big block of things, because I can tell you, even at protests, which, you know, they're like, oh, it's a riot. No, it wasn't a riot. It's literally like people standing there, and yes, they're yelling stuff. You get to yell stuff. And then periodically what ICE or Border Patrol will do is they will throw tear gas, throw smoke, rush forward, randomly grab someone and drag them back into whatever area or building or anything like that. And you don't know who it's going to be. You don't know when it's going to be. There's no rules to it, right? Usually at a protest, there's rules. You stand here, they stand there. There's no man's land. You don't cross between it. Like, everyone kind of understands that. There's not here. So you can be here in your little group, yelling, doing your sign, all that kind of stuff. And they will cross no man's land to grab people. Then they hold them for 7 to 8 hours and let them go. There's almost never any charges because they didn't do anything, but they're doing that to so that you never know the rules. And it's the same with people who follow suspected ICE cars in their neighborhood, you know, to observe. Like, they're going to videotape. You don't know if the car will leave, or if they will randomly, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, doesn't matter the distance you are, randomly they will stop and they don't give you time to get out or anything like that. They break the windows immediately and start dragging people out. Then they take you to usually the Whipple building. You're there for several hours and then they let you go. And that's the other thing that people don't get. So they take everything off of the person, their phone, their coat, their everything. And then it like usually late at night, early in the morning, they let people out of the Whipple building and you have nothing. You don't have your wallet, you don't have your phone, don't have a coat. It's like -17 and they're doing this. The other thing, and this is why even people who have green cards or work permits are so scared, because ICE is grabbing people. They're not giving them time to even show documents. They grab them, they get them to Whipple, they fly them out on these flights, usually to Texas, and they don't give them access to an attorney. Like the family doesn't know where they are down in Texas. Then like the family finally gets the documents to them. It takes a couple days, all that kind of stuff. And then they let them out in Texas with nothing in their pockets, no way to contact anyone, no way to get home, literally dumping them out. And so that's the other thing that you're seeing in those groups is crowdfunding for plane tickets and driving people back to Minnesota. So crazy shit. Okay, so Sarah's asked me, what are you doing to relegate your nervous system because you're in a very real constant threat environment? So I was talking to a friend who lives near where one of the killings were. And I said, are you okay? And he said, no, I'm not okay. And so I said, okay, well, I'm number one, I'm checking to see if you're alive. Was the one alive? But there is a lot of checking on each other. So, no, we're not okay. Not okay. So, most of us are just going on. We will keep going and we will outlast this. And then we'll figure it out. So nothing, Sarah. Let's see if there's any other questions. Questions for this? Seeing a 50501 group that ICE and BP are fully, no, they're not fully leaving. They are not fully leaving. They've just entered into a contract with Fort Snelling to do housing for up to 800 persons. I think they will draw down, but no, they're not leaving. They're not leaving. The fact that they're looking at taking housing on Fort Snelling because like the housing at hotels is not going well for them. That's not a good sign of them leaving. So no. And I'll see if there's any other. All right, I think that's it for questions. I don't know if you think of questions later, put them in the comments and I will try to answer them. But that's all I got for you folks.